What is going on, everybody? Thank you for tuning in to another edition of On the Road to Victory. I am your host, Jimmy Smith, and I hope you're all having yourselves a great weekend. We are here. It is Saturday, a little after 5 o'clock, and the Eagles have not made any practice squad elevation, so I'm going to assume that they have not done so. But I want to get this show out here. We're going to talk about the top 13 matchups, but I'm going to give you those elevations for the Niners, going to show you the stats and standings for both teams, the depth chart, IR, practice squad, all that stuff that you need to see for these teams, and then the top 13 matchups. So appreciate you taking the time. Not a live video, but I will be live for the pregame show tomorrow around 3 o'clock. Hope to see you then, but let's jump right into this bad boy. Appreciate you hitting that like button, subscribing, all the things you're doing to support the channel, but let's go. So as I had mentioned, the Eagles not making any elevation. So we'll talk about that here in a second, what that could mean, but nobody being brought up there. So maybe some good news coming. Now, for the 49ers, they elevate safety Eric Harris and wide receiver Chris Conley. So they're dealing with some, safety injuries. And then, of course, they have a wide receiver questionable. So we'll take a look at that depth chart in a second, but those were the elevations that were made. Now let's take a gander at the stats and standings for both teams. And both teams, their divisions, had teams playing last night. So Thursday Night Football, the Cowboys beat the Seahawks, or the other night, sorry. But it was a close one. But the Cowboys now 9-3, and then the Seahawks now 6-6. And look, those teams are both trailing the 1 and 2 in the NFC here. So we know what we need to do, get the business done. We don't got to worry about anybody behind us. But I love to see the Cowboys 9-3 at number 5. That is truly hilarious. But, the top division winners there, the first 4. So, we're going to continue to stay on top. And these are, the stats from the beginning of the week. So if you would look right now, it'd be a little different with that game happening on Thursday. But I made these the other day. So you can see tied for 3rd in points, 9th in total yardage on offense there, 13th in passing, 8th in rushing. A nice balanced attack, giving up some sacks there and turning the ball over. Need to clean it up. Cannot do that in this game. On defense, giving up some points and yards, but take it all with a grain of salt. We've talked about what this team has been able to do in the second half of games, adjusting all the injuries, all the things that, were really hindering us for a while. You get Roby back, Byard and Blankenship on the same page. I think a lot of this stuff really matters. So, yes, I'm very happy about it. Let's start getting some more turnovers, though. Love that we're getting some sacks, but need some more. We need to get, we're getting pressure, but more sacks, more turnovers. Let's go. Facing a very tough team here. Tied in 3rd for points, 3rd in total yardage on offense, 8th in passing, 7th in rushing. You can see tied for 4th in giving up sacks there, only 1.9 per game. Doing well in the turnover department. And then on the defensive side of the ball, 1st in points allowed, 5th in yardage, 12th in passing, 2nd in rushing, 9th in sacks there, 1st in interceptions, 2nd in turnovers overall. So we know how talented this team is, but you can see, and again, you take the numbers with a grain of salt, but you can see how dominant they've been in what areas. And people talk about, well, you can pass on them. It's like, yeah, well, they're also the number 1 team at intercepting the ball. So be careful there. But hey, let's take a look at these guys, and then we're going to break down these matchups. So right here, we've got the reserves. Anybody that you're not going to see is right here. Obviously, Evans with the asterisk. He's designated to return, but as I said the other day, it looks like his season could be over. Now, Bradley, Dean, Johnson, Maddox, McPherson, who knows if Dean comes back, but the rest of the guys' season's over. Rodgers suspended for the season. So not going to see them here, but Dallas Goedert is doubtful for this game. Grant Calcaterra is questionable. So those are the 2 injuries on offense we're looking at, but the telling thing is Noah Togiai not being elevated. So therefore, Grant Calcaterra could be playing, or Dallas Goedert could be playing. Now he's doubtful, and we know this would be very soon to come back from, but he is a beast. So I'd happily take him back, but we'll see what happens there. You can see, all the wide receivers, running backs, everybody's good to go there. So offensive line healthy. Love that. And we'll find out tomorrow, and I'll let you guys know in that pregame show with the inactives. Maybe in the morning we'll find out. I will let you know as soon as we find out. Then on the defensive side of the ball, Cunningham out. Van Sumeren was added to the active roster. We know Evans is out. Definitely looks like he could be out for the season. Fletcher Cox questionable, but Milton Williams ready to play. Next man up. Secondary healthy. Love that. So This defense ready to rock and roll. Then the special teams, everyone healthy there. So loving that. Now let's jump into the Niners here. You can see their reserves gray. And I had mentioned some safeties. You got Hufanga and Odom there on IR. So that's why they elevated that guy. Eric Harris. So Drake Jackson, Latu, Zakej there. So now let's get into the depth chart here. And you've got offense. Ray McCloud was who I was talking about, questionable at wide receiver. So they elevated Chris Conley, Jordan Mason, questionable, but they've got some other backs. And obviously, Christian McCaffrey is that dude. Now, you can see everybody in red there is new to the team, in case you're wondering, just like with the Eagles. That's how it always goes. Sorry, I didn't explain that. But the orange guys, they are questionable here. Nobody listed out for them, but you have questionable on the defensive side of the ball. Eric Armstead starting D tackle. So they do have Kinlaw still. He could step right in. So they've got some depth there, but that would be a blow. But he has said that he hopes to play. We know they added Hargrave and Chase Young. Jair Brown, the rookie safety, is going to have to step in there. So a couple changes from last year, but we're ready to rock and roll, man. I cannot wait. We're going to get into these matchups here in a second. Now, special teams area, McLeod questionable to play. So is Ronnie Bell going to have to step in there? They're going to use some of these other guys in situations. Ooh, we're going to find out. But that is all you need to know. Now let's jump into these top matchups, and got 13 of them for you. Love to hear your thoughts. Who is your favorite matchup? Maybe you'd switch things around, whatever's on your mind. Maybe you got a score prediction. I'd love to hear it, but let's go, baby. Number 13, we don't know if Ray McCloud's playing, so could it be Ronnie Bell in there? We know Boston Scott, Britton Covey, the best punt returner in the game right now. Let's go. Number 1 in punt return average. So we got to hope that Covey keeps doing his thing. Maybe a big return with Deshaun Jackson in-house. Maybe he gives a little homage to him, runs one back. I would love to see that. So maybe we can get a little spark here from the special teams unit. I would love that. And you got to watch out. Bell is actually really talented too, the Michigan kid. So if you're not getting Ray, you might get Ronnie. So we'll find out what happens there. Now at number 12, look, the tight end situation, very important. We're looking, at Stoll and Akwegbinam there as our only guys we know of. Goddard, Calcaterra, both questionable for this game. So, well, we're going to find out who's playing, tomorrow. But either way, Goddard, we know how much of a difference he makes. If not, you just see more 3-4 wide receiver sets, 2 running back sets. So just less tight end. But you hope that the other guys can get it done. But no Togiai. So I'm assuming Calcaterra is maybe ready, or possibly Goddard. That would be fantastic. But then on the other side, you've got Jair Brown, Gibson stepping in, Hufanga out. That is a huge blow for them. We know how well he's doing. But the rookie Brown is really talented here. So I'm intrigued to see how these guys do, not only against the tight ends, but the running backs, all that stuff. Clearly we just pick, the matchups, but these guys obviously can run into other players here. So intrigued to see that one. Now at number 11, I've got our guys doing some work. A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith. Oh, my Lord. Best duo in the league. And A.J. Brown, 1,050 yards on the season, 7 touchdowns. He's got 14.4 yards per catch. Devontae's got 13.4 yards per catch, 5 touchdowns. These guys, we know how talented they are. Now, what can the other guys do? Julio Olamide's here. Quez is back. So, look, you're not going to need to see those other guys too much, but with those limited reps, can they do something? But I'm looking to see Brown working on Charvarius Ward, Ambry Thomas, and Diamador Lenore here, going to have their hands full. I'm hoping that we can get this pass attack going, and I'm hoping that we get a 100-yard game from A.J. Brown, maybe Devontae Smith. Let's go, baby. As I said, maybe less tight end, more wide receivers. So, look, these corners, yeah, I mean, take it all with a grain of salt. Teams have to pass against them. They're, trailing. I think we know how good they are. So we can pass against them, though. I think that we can definitely work these corners. Now, talking about getting worked, George Kittle, man. This dude, he's one of the best tight ends in the game, but Blankenship, Byard, now Sidney Brown being able to play that big nickel we've been talking about since the offseason. Yes. So these 3 safeties all going to have their roles on Sunday, and I think, a lot of it's going to be shutting down George Kittle. Obviously, they're going to have to help with Debo, have to help with Ayuk, also have to help with Christian McCaffrey, so their plates will be full. But we've got the 3 safeties to do it, so I'm all about it. And we've talked about how well, we would be able to run this big nickel with Sidney Brown. And now that we've got Byard here, I think that we can finally find, these guys, settling in here. So hopeful for that. But hey, they got their hands full here. George Kittle, 14.5 yards per catch, 667 yards on the year, 5 touchdowns. Very talented dude. So hopeful that maybe Byard get himself another interception, maybe a big game from Blankenship. Sidney Brown doing some work at that big nickel. I would love it. Number 9, I've got Purdy here. I don't think he's as great as, they try to make him. I think he's a system quarterback. He's got a lot of great pieces around him, but he's got 2,871 yards on the season, 9.4 yards per pass, 261 yards per game, 19 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. He's been sacked 21 times. So he's having a pretty damn good season, but you saw what happened when Debo went out. He just really, he fell apart. It's not like Jalen Hurts where he can carry the team when Lane Johnson's out, Dallas Goedert's out. So, you could have Sam Darnold here. You could have Brandon Allen. Either one, it's going to be the same thing. They've got great weapons around them. It's on the defense to shut those weapons down. And I think Brock Purdy, you just get him rattled. He knows what happened to him last game. You just send the house a couple times, pressure his ass, put him in the dirt. Don't get any penalties. You don't need any cheap shots, but lay him out, man. Play some football here. Let's get him scared. He is in our house. They've been talking smack. Let's find out if they can back it up. So very, very excited about this one. And I think this Eagles defense is going to be able to get a couple sacks here. And maybe 1, maybe 2. I would like more, but I would also like a turnover. That would be fantastic. So let's get it done. And we can do that by starting up front here. And we've got Banks, Brendel, Burford. We talked about him earlier in this week. And, Jalen Carter had made a comment earlier in the week. They were talking about all these skill players. And I had laughed because just earlier that day, I was talking about the 3 guys inside, the 3 Bs. And, I think Carter, Davis, Williams, possibly Cox, he's questionable. They have the upper hand here. It's a good, very good interior offensive line for the Niners. Don't get me wrong, but this Eagles defensive line is stacked. We've got a rotation, and if Cox is not ready, well, then you'll have Tua Pelotu and a Jomo to step it in, and Carter's going to possibly win Defensive Rookie of the Year. Kid is just eating people alive, and that's with a lot of limited snaps. It just continues to grow, as we talked about when we drafted him. Can't just be throwing people in the fire here, but Carter is balling, man. He's got 4 sacks already as a rookie, 6 tackles for loss. I'm loving what he's doing. Jordan Davis in his second year. Kid is a stud. So we're going to need them to definitely help shut down this run and allow people to get to the quarterback. They've got their hands full in this one. And then on the outside here, we've got our edge rushers going up against Trent Williams and McKivitz here. Reddick, Sweat, Brandon Graham, and Nolan Smith now with Barnett going. So we're going to need these other guys to step it up. And look, now that Reddick is at his cast off, he's been feasting, leading the team with 8.5 sacks. Sweat's got 6.5. You've got 9 tackles for loss from Reddick, 6 for Sweat. I mean, these guys, they can stop the run. They can attack the quarterback. So we're going to need them to do all of the above in this game because we know who their running back is, their tight ends, all that stuff, man. So let's just see if the Niners are crazy enough to put their backup tight ends on Reddick this time and see what happens. But looking forward to that one. Now at number 6, you've got Brandon Ayuk, Deebo Samuel, Joanne Jennings here. And we'll see if Ray McLeod plays, but maybe a little bit of offense for him if he does. But Chris Conley, again, was elevated. So maybe some offensive work, not just special teams. We shall see. But look, man, Ayuk's got 881 yards, 19.6 yards per catch, 5 touchdowns. Woo! Then you got Deebo with 474 yards, 13.9 yards per catch, only 1 touchdown. But Deebo's been talking a lot, talking about that man pictured right there, James Bradberry. And Bradberry and Saleh have had their issues this year, but we've talked about it with the injuries, all the things that are going on in the defense that, look, man, we're not cutting these people, trading these people. Holy hell. Stay patient. These guys have shut down offenses like the Dolphins, Chiefs. And look, man, we've played some really effing good quarterbacks. And it's not that they've shut them down, but they've done good work. And stay patient here. But Roby, stay healthy. I think that these guys got a tough matchup here, but I'm very excited. They move Deebo all over the place. But I am definitely looking forward to that one. Now, getting into the top 5 here. Let's run the damn ball. I'm going to say it. They've got the best, one of the best, if not the best, linebackers in the game, in Fred Warner, Oren Burks, and Dre Greenlaw there. So, that's a pretty talented room. But we've got DeAndre Swift. We got Kenny Gainwell. We're going to use them both. Run that damn ball. And obviously, Swift sees about 65 to 70% of the snaps. So, continue to use him, whether it's on the ground, in the air, get him involved, let him work. The dude does work. And he's got 770 rush yards, 4.8 yards per carry. He's got 4 touchdowns, and he can catch the ball too, man. He's got 201-yard receiving, 5.9 yards per catch with a touchdown. Let's get him the ball. We know who Fred Warner is. And look, the other guys are pretty damn talented too, but Warner leading the team with tackles, 95. He's got 2 sacks, 5 tackles for a loss, 8 passes deflected, 3 interceptions, 3 forced fumbles. The dude is a freak of nature. So, best of luck, but going to be fun to watch that matchup there. Now at number 4, their running back. This is going to be, look, Christian McCaffrey, super talented, 939 rushing yards, 4.9 yards per carry, 11 touchdowns. He can catch the ball, 48 receptions, 389 yards, 8.1 yards per catch, 5 receiving touchdowns. So this dude, we all know who he is. We know that the Eagles are banged up at linebacker. We've only got Morrow, Ellis, and Van Sumer in there. So we're going to need him to step up big time. Going to need help from the safeties, the linemen. Everybody's going to have to step it up here. We got to shut down the run, make them one-dimensional, put the game into Brock Purdy's hands, and it's going to be a rough day for them. But look, Christian McCaffrey is going to get his. Try not to freak out. He's going to get good plays. He's a very talented football player, but we can try to subdue him a little bit here. So let's try to shut him down, make this a one-dimensional game, and let's whoop some ass. But let's get into this top 3 here. And as I told you, coming into this show, man, oh my God, the matchups here. But let's talk about the heavyweights here. Interior guys, Dickerson, Kelsey, Juergens here going up against former Philadelphia Eagle Javon Hargrave. We've got Kinlaw there. And then Armstead, as I mentioned, is questionable for this game. This is going to be a barn burner, ladies and gentlemen. And Hargrave's already out there doing his thing, man. And he's got a lot of talent around him, but he's got 6 sacks on the season, 7 tackles for a loss. But we know he struggles against the run. If you need to run in the middle, like, don't be afraid of it. Run it. You know what I mean? So just run it outside. Do your thing. Swift is very talented, and so is Kenny G. So let's run the ball right down their throats. But you got to protect Jalen here too. But going to be quite a tough task there. Now, on the outside, oh, yeah, this was almost number 1, but oh my God. Lane Johnson, Jordan Mailata going up against Nick Bosa, Chase Young. Oh, sweet baby back Jesus. 8 sacks for Bosa on the season. Chase Young just got there, but he's got 1.5 sack. And look, I really just think that this could be one of the best duos up there with Reddick and Sweat. So going up against the best tackle duo in the NFL. So, oh my gosh, I cannot wait to see this one. Going to be, and look, you saw last year, Lane Johnson playing on one leg. He did not allow Nick Bosa to do anything. So looking forward to this one. You got Chase Young as well. So we'll see where they line him up. Either way, going to be heavyweight battles there. Now at number 1, it's QB1. Jalen effing Hurts going up against that 49ers defense as a whole. So look, man, Chase Young is quite an addition there for them. Hargrave, quite an offseason addition there for them. And we know how good that defense is as a whole. I just showed you all the guys they have there, and this defense is no joke. Number 1 in points. Talked about 5th in yardage there. Very good. But when you look at Jalen Hurts, I don't care, man. We've played phenomenal defenses all year. This dude has 2,697 passing yards. That's 245.2 yards per game, 7.5 yards per throw. He's got 18 touchdowns, 10 interceptions, been sacked 29 times, but he's got 410 rushing yards, 3.6 yards per rush. You know, a lot of them are 1-2 yard rushes. And he's got himself 11 rushing touchdowns. We know who Jalen Hurts is. He is the truth here, ladies and gentlemen. And again, we know how good this defense is. Number 1 in sacks, up there, number 1 in interceptions, and they're up there in sacks as well. So look, man, they're going to come at him. They can send the house if they want. And look, they're very aggressive, and they're going to send their D ends. They, play some wide 9, have their D ends in that 5 technique, and they're very aggressive. So going to see a lot of screens. Try not to lose your mind here, but I think you need to run the ball at them as well. So Jalen Hurts, obviously you're going to have your quarterback design runs, the RPOs, all that stuff, but this defense is pretty damn good, but they don't have D'Amico Ryans anymore. Still very talented. Do not get me wrong. This is going to be a heavyweight battle. And look, each week it's, this is the Eagles' toughest matchup. Well, great. This is that other team's toughest matchup. We are the Philadelphia Eagles, the best team in the NFL, 10-1. But that's all I've got for you, ladies and gentlemen. That was my top 13 matchups and everything else you needed to know for this game tomorrow. I will keep you updated with any injuries, signings, anything like that. But love to hear your thoughts down below. Appreciate you hitting that like button, subscribing. Hope you're all having yourselves a great weekend. But until next time, I'm Jimmy Smith, and this is On the Road to Victory. You all stay safe out there, and as always, go Birds!